Hello and welcome. This is Julianne with Life Edit and Design. And today I want to talk to you about ceilings, and not like the ceiling up there and not the glass ceiling, the dreaded glass ceiling, but a ceiling that's a good type of ceiling. So I was listening to a Brendon Burchard talk the other day, and he was talking about the concept of enough. So when is it enough? When have you done enough work? When have you saved enough money? Like when have you spent enough time with family? Like that feeling of enough. And I've noticed that as an entrepreneur now, you don't have that guideline. You don't have the reason why things are enough yet. You feel like there's always more to do. There's always more to do. And when you were working, or when I was working, and all of a sudden, it used to be that the day ended at 5 o'clock, right? When you went home, that was the end of it. And now you're constantly being bombarded by texts and emails at all hours, and you're expected to respond at all hours. So it's never done, right? Your work day is never done because there's always something more to do. It's always expected of you to do more. And so if you've transitioned from working full-time to working for yourself, like I have, you still bring that culture with you, and you always feel like there's more I have to do. And I love this concept of saying, what is enough? When is it okay to close down the computer and feel like I'm complete? I've done enough for the day. And when is it, when you're talking about good things, like you want to spend time with family, what is enough time with family versus enough time to spend by yourself, time to just reflect? And if you never actually set those limits, that ceiling of what is enough, you're always going to fall short. You're always going to feel like I should be doing more for my family, or I should be spending more time, taking care of the house, or I should spend more time, whatever, working. And then you're never going to have that enough number. So my tip for you today is to take that concept and start to put some limits on yourself that are good limits that say, okay, it's enough. I've done enough work for the day. I've spent enough time taking care of the house, and be able to close things down and be able to feel complete. I think that's the feeling I'm really going for. So instead of a ceiling, it's like, when do you feel complete? And I do all of my planning seasonally. And if you're interested in that, I have Plan Jam, which is a whole seasonal planning approach. But for the season that you're in right now, for me right now, it's summer. What are the major goals or the major life areas that need attention in the summer? It's probably your family. Like if your kids are home from school, they're taking a lot more attention than they have in the past or when they were at school. Maybe you have some big projects. Maybe it's just spending some downtime, so spending some self-care, some recharging. Like write down what are those major life areas. And for me, it's working on this Plan Jam retreat that I have coming up. My fitness is very much a focus right now. I love the energy of the summer, and I love to capitalize on that and do a lot more working out. Personal growth is very, very high on my list. Getting out of the house is very high on my list this season. I've done such a great job. Over there is my desk area, and I've created such a great desk area that I don't want to leave because everything's there and it's so easy. And I've realized I've kind of created myself my own little problem, because now I never leave the house. I never feel like I'm part of the community anymore. I'm not out and about. And so something that's very high on my list for the summers, while the weather's great and you have the opportunity to be out, I need to get out of the house more. So that's high on my list. And I also am doing a big program for my library called the Greenbush Quest, where we're doing a clue hunt through the whole town, and it takes us a lot of time. So I went through each of those 5 areas, and I said, okay, in these areas, these are my high touch points for the summer. These are my projects that I'm really passionate about, I really want to work on. And they said, how many hours do I need? So from now until either the deadline of the events or just to the end of the summer. So for me, my summer is going to end on August 23rd, because it's when I'm doing Plan Jam, and that's when we're planning for the fall. So I counted backwards from August 23rd to now and how many days I had. And then I said, looking at the projects that are on my plate, how many hours is it going to take for me to complete those projects? Or how many hours do I want to spend a week on fitness? How many times a week do I want to get out of the house? And so I kind of gave all that numbers, quantities, and then I looked back and said, okay, so if I decided I needed 30 more hours to finish this Plan Jam retreat that I'm working on. I said, okay, if I have 30 hours and this is the number of weeks, it comes down to I need about 2 hours a day, or 8 hours a week. I only need to work on it about 4 days a week. So when I put in my 2 hours, I have closure. Like I can move on to other projects for the day. I don't have to think about it. And I don't have to feel like, oh, there's so much more to do. It's just like, what can I do in those 2 hours? All I have to focus on is the task list, combining that, looking at that, chopping into what I can do for 2 hours and do it. And then I can forget it. And I don't have to feel guilty. That's the biggest thing. I think having the ceiling concept gets rid of the feeling of guilt. And that's huge. So if you never feel like enough, you never feel like you've done enough, having this quantity system really helps you to say, okay, I've done all that I need to do. So with my fitness, I know I need to do, I call it the daily 30. I need to do 30 minutes of something, and there's some days that are hard and some days that are very easy. But when I've done my 30 minutes, I don't need to think about it again. So I do that 30 minutes early. Like I already did my strength training today. Like, so I don't have to think about the rest of the day. I don't have to feel guilty. I don't have to spend any more time on it. That's what I need to do for my fitness right now. And it's like set it and forget it. Like I did my 30 and now I don't have to think about it. So I find that this ceiling really is a positive thing. Instead of that glass ceiling, that negativity, this just gives you space, room to breathe. So my suggestion for you is to look at, again, what do you need in this season? And then kind of work it down to how many hours you need. So if it's family time, like what is enough family time? Have you ever really thought about that? Especially, depending on the ages of your kids, it might be that you need to spend 4 hours every single day because they're they're smaller and they need you. Or it could be that you have teenagers, and if you just get 1 or 2 meaningful interactions a week, that's good because they're constantly out of the house. If you're trying to work on your significant other relationship, what does that really need? What's enough? Is it just mean if you have one really good date night or you spend like all day Saturday together, then the rest of the week you only need to have a few things going on? Like, what is enough for you? And have you ever really thought about it and said, okay, once I do this, then I can free up the bandwidth. I don't have to be thinking about it. I don't have to drain so much energy trying to say, did I do enough in that area? So think about, especially work, like when can you close the computer, close the laptop and be like, done? When have you done enough? And you may have to train some other people with this concept to say, I've done enough and not feel guilty. So if it's, coworkers that are constantly coming after you, you can just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to put my phone on do not disturb at this hour. Just so you know, it's, for me, it's summer. Hey, I'm going to spend some time with family. This is a priority for me. I think if you explain it to people and say, hey, I'm not available at this time, let it go. I'm not available. I'm on vacation. Have that closure that says I've done enough. So create your own ceilings. I think this is great. It's a freeing tip. And if you're really into seasonal planning like I am and you want to learn more, there's a link down below to Plan Jam. So depending on when you watch this, it might be open for registration or it might be in waitlist mode because it opens 5 times a year. But I'd love to have you there. And I think this whole concept of planning for the season, saying what do I need for this season? What does my energy need? What does my family need? What does my dreams need in this season? It's a great way to do your planning. So I hope to see you there. Otherwise, have a great day and create your own ceilings that are positive and that give you that closure. Have a great day.